Okay, good afternoon and hello everybody, and welcome to another live stream on Woo English. My name is Hamza, and as always, I will be your host for today's live stream. I see that people already are waiting for us. I'm so sorry for the delay. I've been facing some technical issues with both the camera and the material that I wanted to share with you today. So I'm sorry for that. I hope I didn't take too much of your time. I hope I didn't let you wait for too long. So it wasn't in my hand, honestly. So sorry for that. So as always, today is Saturday. We will be having a grammar live stream. Today we will finish talking about the topic that we started last week, which is the past simple. So we will start by a quick review, and then we will go to see how we can remember the rules of the irregular verbs. All right. So I see that Amin has been waiting for too long. Sorry, Amin, for keeping you waiting. And hello to you. And I hope you are doing well. And I'm very glad that you are so excited that you have been waiting for something like 1 hour and a half, actually, from what I can see. So thank you so much for that. Sophia as well has been waiting for us. So thank you, Sophia, for waiting. And I hope that you are still with us, Sophia. I hope that you didn't get bored. Okay, I see. Artyom is here as well. Hello, Artyom. And hello, everybody. So I'm very excited, very happy to see you again. Uh, um, so, all right. So I will wait for the rest of you guys to join, and then we can start. And while we are waiting for the rest of the guys to join us, let me just give you a quick reminder that we started giving these days, that we are back at posting free ebooks on our website. So please make sure to have a look at them. Not now, of course. Later, when we finish dealing with the past simple, please make sure to have a look at the ebooks that we shared on our uh, 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 website. Yes, so they are free. Some of them are both on our YouTube channel and are on the website as PDF. So, meaning you can have the book in front of you while you are listening to the audio format of the book. How wonderful is that? That is the best way to learn English. I see more people have joined. Um, Great. So, Sophia is here. So, hello, Sophia. Great, Sophia. So, what are you drawing? So, what drawings, art sim? Okay, so just again, kind reminder, have free ebooks. Let me probably very quickly, because I see that not many people have joined us yet. So let me please just very quickly guide you through how you can find the free ebooks on our website. So I will share with you. So this is our website. So this is the Woo English website. We are working on an application as well. So you will find this is our website. You have different sections here. You can go to ebooks. So you have ebooks right here. So you can click on ebooks. And my internet is very slow. So sorry for that. Of course, on this side, you can see that we have different levels. So you can choose materials, you can choose ebooks depending on your level. So you have, for example, starter, you have elementary, pre-intermediate, etc. And if you go all the way to the bottom of the levels, you find free ebooks. And let us say, for example, you like this book called Secrets of the Silk Road. So if you like this book, meaning that you can click on it, and if you can go here, you will find download. You click on it, and the book will start downloading very automatically. And since I already have the book on my device, so this means that I will not click on it, but you should click on that. Great. So that was just like for a kind reminder. Sumiya, hello. I'm doing very well. How about you, Sumia? And I see Hasna as well. So welcome, guys, to the live stream. And I think it's about time I share with you as we start talking. So today we will finish talking about the past simple. All right. Of course, before we do, we will. Have a little review about what we saw last time, and after that we can start talking about the second part, which is mostly today. We will be like focusing more on the irregular verb, because most people find more problems with irregular verbs actually, all right? So that's why we will just focus on irregular verbs. And the past simple is actually one of the most important tenses in English. It's used a lot, all right? And most of the experiences that we talk about are from the past, so you will need it a lot. You will need it a lot. All right. So I think we can start. I think we can start. I think we have enough people to start. Let us not just keep wasting time and keep dragging, so we can start directly. And the first thing I want to start with is a quick review, right? So let's review what we saw last time. We can talk about two things, or we talked about two things last time. The first one is, when do we use the past simple? So the question is for you guys: when do we use the past simple? So let me ask you this question: when do we use the past simple? If you remember, for the present simple, we said that we use it, for example, to talk about habits. So whenever you want to talk about a habit or a daily routine, you should use the present simple. All right. Don't use the past. Don't use the future. Use the present simple. Okay. We also said that we use it to talk about general facts, scientific facts, things that are always true. So, for example, if I say the sky is blue, I'm using the present simple here because the sky is and will always be blue. Great. Indeed, Sumia. So when we talk about actions in the past, but Sumia, what you need to be careful about is that there are other tenses that we can use to talk about actions in the past. When there is an action in the past, depending on the type of this action, we can use different types of tenses. So the past simple is used for the past, but not all past actions. Let me see, Hasna. Uh, all right, great. So Hasna remembers a very important detail, which is that for us to use the past simple, the action must be finished. It must be finished. All right. So let me see what Sophia said. We use the past, happened in the past. And for short affect, also, thank you. Great, Sophia. Absolutely. And I think the same answer. Also, I have the same answer by Amin. So he said for short actions in the past, and I really like this definition. I agree with it. So when we say I, uh, let me give you actually full. Okay. So for example, let's say we have a sentence like this one. So I slip. So slip is not sleep, by the way. It's not sleep. So I slip is when you are standing, for example, and there is water on the floor and you slip. Right. So you slip and you fall. So this is a very short action, right? It's a short action. It doesn't take a lot of time for you to fall to the ground. So this means this is a short action, because for long action, mostly we don't use the past simple. And I agree with this definition. And by the way, what is the past simple of slip? Does anyone know? So if anyone know, let me write first the answer in the chat. All right, this is basically the answer. So I slipped, right? So I slipped. It's a regular verb, so we add ed. Uh, Indeed, Sophia, absolutely. So we have a short action, and it is finished. All right, it's also finished. So let me share with you the video or the answer. So this is basically it. So we use the past simple to talk about actions that started and finished in the past, and it is very important that these actions are finished. They are done. They are finished. All right, very important detail. All right, because if the action started in the past but it's still going on right now, this we cannot use the past simple. Right, we cannot use the past simple. So this is the first part. The second part, or the second use, is we use the past simple to talk about or to tell stories. Okay. So when I'm telling a story, I should use the past simple, and this is something that you will notice a lot on our videos. So all of our videos are in the past. Okay, so this is for the use. The second question is, how do we put verbs in the past simple? So if I have a verb and I want to put it in the past simple, what is the rule that we saw last time? Do you guys remember the rule? So what was the rule for the use or the conjugation of the verb? Okay, so Amin says that there are regular and irregular. Hasna, there are verbs finish with ed or d. Great. Okay. All right. So that's the first type. Absolutely, that's the first type. So the first type are verbs that we call regular, and this is the rule for regular verbs. So for regular verbs, hello, hello, Halim, hello. So for regular verbs, we add ed to the verb. For example, let's say we have visit and we have cry. So what are the forms of these two verbs? Can someone tell me? Indeed, Hasna, absolutely. So there are also irregular. Yes, there is regular and irregular. And for you, I mean, you are absolutely correct, but just pay attention to the spelling of regular and irregular. Uh, great. Okay, so cried with ed and visited. All right. Uh, uh, for you, Sophia, if we say cries, this means that you are using the present simple, right? And here we are talking about the past simple. So for the past simple, we use ed. Great. So for these verbs, they become visited and cried. Okay, visited and cried. Great. So that's for the first type of verb. Let me probably hide my or let me take myself to the other side. Okay, and then we have irregular verbs. So for irregular verbs, it doesn't follow the ed rule, but the verb changes completely. So all the verb changes. For example, let's have these two verbs, go and speak. So are we going to say goat, or are we going to say speaked, or is there like another rule? So I'm hiding myself because I think you cannot see the screen with my head there. So just okay. Went and spoke. Same for you, I mean. Went and spoke. Fantastic job. Went, spoke. Great. For Halim as well. So went and spoke. Great. So those are absolutely the forms of the verb. So very briefly, so for the past simple, we use it when there is a short action in the past. It started and it finished in the past. And the second thing is we use it when we are telling stories. Next thing, for the form of the verb, we said that we use ed with regular verbs. Visit becomes visited, watch becomes watched, uh, um, stay becomes stayed, play becomes played. So these are regular verbs, meaning that they follow the rule of ed. The other type of verbs are irregular verbs, and irregular verbs change completely. So the verb changes completely. So go becomes went, and maybe, for example, uh, um, do becomes did, speak becomes spoke, write becomes wrote, put stays put. All right. So there are all types of verbs. And this is the most difficult thing about irregular verbs. So for irregular verbs, it's very difficult to remember all the forms of the verb. Okay, so because there are a lot of forms. So this is what why we are here today. So today I'm going to show you one of the ways in which we can remember the most common, that is to say, verbs, irregular verbs that are commonly used. All right, that are commonly used in English. Exactly, Iman. Hello to you. So understand, understood. Absolutely. So that's another regular irregular verb. Okay. So I was saying I will show you today one of the ways in which we can keep track, in which we can remember the majority or a lot of irregular verbs, especially the most commonly used one, the ones that are used a lot, the ones that you will hear a lot in English. All right. So the way is very simple, and I think we started it last time. I demonstrated it to you, which is, for example, if I ask you think and let's say buy. So if I ask you to tell me what is the past simple of these two verbs, Abdul, hello to you. And good afternoon. So you are from the same time zone as us, because it is also afternoon here in Morocco. Fantastic job. So think by. So Amin says, Amin says bought, thought, and Sophia says bought. Great. Artyom thought, and Hesna says thought and bought. And if you can notice, and bought, I mean, fantastic job. So if you can notice, these two verbs change. Halim, same thing, thought and bought. Great job, guys. So if you can notice, these verbs change in the same way. Okay, they have the same format in the past simple. And this is basically the trick. The trick is to remember what verbs change in the same way in English in the past simple. And this is what we are going to do today. So Abdul Sam is joining us from Holland. Hello to you. So I hope you are following. So probably for those of you, just to put everybody in the picture. So today we are having the second live stream for the past simple. Indeed, the Netherlands. Yes, so the Netherlands. So we are having the second live stream about the past simple. Last time we talked about when do we use the past simple and the regular verbs. Today we are talking about irregular verbs, verbs that change in very, very weird and strange way in the past. So go becomes went, but understand becomes understood. Okay, and do becomes did, but speak becomes spoke. So no rule, absolutely no rule. So this is what we are going to discover today. We are going to see how can we remember them. So let me share with you again my beautiful slides. I spent a lot of time making these slides, so I hope they will be helpful for you. So that's our okay, great. So the way, as I said, is to categorize them. Sophia from the UK. Great. I like that we have like a melting pot here of different countries, different nationalities. I really like that. And of course, different opinions. So basically, what I'm going to do today, I'm going to give you a list of verbs, okay? A list of verbs, and we are going to classify them. These verbs are the most commonly used irregular verbs in English, all right? They are very commonly used. I think you have 40 regular verbs here. How wonderful is that? You will be able to use correctly 40 verbs in English that are commonly used, that you will commonly hear in English in the past simple in the correct way. That will be great. So let us dive right into it. So we will start with the first verb, which is think. So the first verb is think. So my question to you, of course, is the what is the past simple? I think you already gave me the past simple of think, which was thought. So I will dive right into it. So let's start with. So we are going to put all of these verbs in this table. We will start with think. So think in the past it's thought. So if you can notice, so we moved from think and we added uh, OUGHT. So OUGHT. So think becomes thought. Like Sophia wrote it, so think becomes thought. And like Amin wrote it, think becomes thought. What is your task right now? Your task right now is to take some time, look into this list of verbs and give me all the other verbs that you can see on this list that follow the same rule, which is they finish in OUGHT. Let me repeat again, probably. So we said that think becomes thought. And so meaning that this verb has OUGHT, or at least has GHT at the end. So your task right now is to find other verb from the list that you have in yellow. Find for me other verbs that have the same ending, GHT, in English in the past simple. So I will give you some time. Take your time and give me my answer. Okay. So whenever you find a verb, just type it in the chat. Absolutely. Hello, Hamza. Hello. I see that this is your second live stream. Since last time you said that that was your first. So hello to you and welcome. And today we are talking about the past simple. So I hope you will enjoy and you will learn something from this session. Artsim found the verb to buy. It's already there. I think it's in the second line. It's in the second line indeed. So buy becomes bought. Uh, Halim says bring becomes brought. Yes, bring is when I say, hey, are you going to McDonald's? Can you bring me a Big Mac and cheese? A lot of people are boycotting McDonald's, by the way. So don't go there for the time being. So bring, teach, fight. Great. I mean, already found three ones. But Uh, all right. So Hasna, if you can't see the screen very well, maybe switch to full screen and you will be able to see it well. Let me probably check on my phone. I'm sorry if it's not very clear for you. Broke. Great, Hamza. But you are correct. But now we are just looking for verbs that end in GHT, right? That end in GHT. So Hasna, if you can, so this is basically, I'm not sure if you can see it, but if you just like put the screen like this in full mode, you will be able to see the. So if you put the screen in full mode, you will be able, and also maybe play a little bit with the quality of the video. Great. So let us. So we found a lot of verbs so far. So buy, bought, bring, brought, teach, taught. Great. I mean, fantastic job. Teach, taught, fight, fought. Great. So indeed, we have other verbs. So let me reveal the other verbs that end in GHT. Okay, I see, Sophia. So sorry for that. Unfortunately, there isn't much I can do actually right now. Okay. So basically, these are the verbs that end in English that end in GHT. All right. So think becomes thought, fight becomes fought, buy becomes bought, seek as I said last time is to search for something, to try to find something. Right. So I have a big problem. So I'm seeking help. All right. Let me just very quickly please see how things are here on the. Okay, so on my phone, actually, it's a little bit clear. It's a little bit clear. It's not the best, but I can read everything on the screen. So please, if you can, like, put your screen in full mode and go probably to the quality and choose the 360 or above. That will give you the best experience. Indeed, Hamza. So, buy, bought, and those are the verbs that we have on the screen. Great. So now, let us see the second type of verbs. The second type of verbs, or the second verb on the list that you have above. But on my phone, I mean, actually, I have it's there is 720. So if you have 360 or above, you will be able to read everything on the screen very, very well. All right. So let us go back to the video. Sophia, can you use? Indeed, yes. So a PC would be a computer would be amazing, but as I showed you, even on the phone, I can watch I can actually watch the live just fine. I can watch the live just fine. As you can see, just choose a good quality and also put your video on full mode. Okay. All right. So as I was saying, so the first category, thank you for confirming, Amin. Thank you so much. So 360 is good. So as I was saying, the first category of irregular verbs are irregular verbs that in the past get GHT in the end. So think becomes thought with GHT. Buy becomes bought with GHT. And this category, we can divide it further into two other categories. The first one are verbs that have OUGHT, and the second category are verbs that have AUGHT. So there is a difference in one vowel, but the rule is similar. So those six verbs are verbs or irregular verbs in English that have GHT in the end. Now, what about the verb put? What about the verb put? Right? What about the verb put? The second verb. So, verb put. I put this. So, I put. What is the past simple of put? The second verb on the list. The second verb on the list. Okay. So so put in the past, put in the past participle, the same answer for Artyom. Put, the same thing for Hamza, put, no change. Amin says it won't change. And okay, Sophia actually applied the ED rule. But Sophia actually, the rule for put is that it doesn't change. For example, let me give you an example on the in the chat. Every day, for example, I put my clothes uh, in the washing machine, right? uh, so I can say, I will give you an example just to illustrate my point. Okay, so this is an example. This is an example. So I can say, every day I put my clothes in the washing machine. Every day. So this is a habit, meaning the first one is in the present simple. The second sentence, yesterday, so this is the past, yesterday, I put my clothes in the washing machine. And if you can notice, the form of the verb in the present simple is the same form of the verb in the past simple. Okay? Meaning that this verb is in a category that doesn't change at all in the past. So no change. So this is the second category. So the first category of irregular verbs are irregular verbs that get GHT in the end. Think thought, by bought, teach, taught. The second category are verbs that do not change at all in the past. Put in the past, it stays put. Your task right now again is to do what? Is to go back to the list and find for me other verbs that don't change in the past. We have other verbs on that list that don't change. All right, like put, they don't change in the past. Can you find them for me, please? Let's see how many you can find. So let's see how many verbs you can find from that list. So you need to find four more verbs actually. Four more verbs. Artsim find one, or Artsim found one, which is let. Let. Great. Let. Sophia, you are very smart actually with this one. All right. Read. Read, and I agree with you. Read, it doesn't change. Read. Okay, but it changes in the pronunciation. So because of that change in the pronunciation, I decided to keep it in a different category. But you are correct, by the way. You are correct. Read doesn't change in writing. Completely agree. Cut stays cut. You found the second one, Hamza. That's a second one. So let Artyom, Hamza said cut. And there is Iman. Iman. Eat. It seems that you are hungry right now because eat is a verb that changes in the past. Can someone tell Iman what is the past of eat? Okay, read. I completely agree with you, Hamza. Same like that Sophia said. Let, I mean, absolutely. Uh, what is Iman? Iman is here. So eat. Iman is very hungry today, and she thinks that eat is eat also in the past. But Amin says it's actually eight. And Sophia says the same. It's eight. All right. Probably she's just joking. Okay, great. So I will share with you the other verbs that don't change from the list. The first verb actually is what Hamza found, which is cut. So cut is a verb that doesn't change in the past. Then the other one is hit. This is hit. All right. So to hit someone, right? To hit. Don't hit anyone, right? Don't hit anyone. So to hit someone is doesn't change. So I can say yesterday I hit the wall, for example, or yesterday a car hit a little kid. All right. So a car hit a little kid. It doesn't change in the past. Hurt doesn't change. So hurt. Uh, if I have, for example, if I have if someone hits me here, for example, it will hurt. It will hurt. And lastly, we have let. So all of these verbs don't change in the past. They don't change in the past. Okay, fantastic. And read, by the way, read. Honestly, it should be here on this list because it doesn't change. But just because there is a change in the pronunciation, I decided to put it in a different category. But I completely agree with you guys. It actually should be here because it doesn't change in the spelling, in the writing. It doesn't change. Next one is begin. The verb begin. So begin is to start, all right? So begin is to start. So can you guys tell me what is the past of begin? All right? So begin. So let me give you an example. The movie, for example, so, for example, I can say the movie began 2 hours ago. The movie began 2 hours ago, meaning it started 2 hours ago. So, what is the form that we should use for the verb between parentheses? Because this is the past, all right? This is the past. The movie already. Amin says it's begun with an A. And the same thing Hamza says begun as well. Begin. So for you, Sophia, should it stay the same? Should it stay the same without any change? Or should we change it in some way? So what do you think? So for Hamza, he says it should be A, all right? It should receive an A in the middle. And the same thing, Amin says it should receive an A in the middle. So I becomes A. Do you agree with Amin and Hamza, or do you agree with Sophia? It doesn't change. Uh, begin. Begun. All right, now we are talking. Now we are talking. Absolutely. Great. And that's actually the category. So begin becomes begun, meaning it receives an A in the middle. In the middle. All right. So there is an A in the middle. So the same great, fantastic job. So the sentence will become, like Hamza said, the movie began 2 hours ago. The movie began 2 hours ago. So my question or my task for you, fantastic job. Our team already found another verb. Because my task for you was, can you find other verbs from the list that change in the same way as begin? So begin, begun. Are there other verbs in the list that change in the same way, meaning they receive an A in the middle? Our team already found one, which is swim, swam. It's in the first line. In the end of the first line, you will find swim. So swim becomes swam, and that's the same change that we are looking for. So you are absolutely correct, our team. Begin becomes begun. Thank you, Sophia, for correcting. Uh, Ring. The telephone ring, all right, it rings, but in the past we should say it rang with an A. Great. Amin found another one, which is run. So run, and in the past it becomes ran. Okay, ran. You guys are doing fantastic job. You are doing a fantastic job. I'm really proud of you all. Great. So begin, began, run, ran, and swim, swam. So all of these verbs, I completely agree with you. These are verbs that change in the same way. So probably I should just reveal the rest of the verbs. So here are they. So begin becomes began, swim becomes swam, run becomes ran, ring. So ring, the telephone is ringing, all right, to ring. So it becomes rang in the past. Drink. So if I say I drink water yesterday, I should say I drank water yesterday, all right? So it's drunk with an A. And then there is shrink. So for those of you who don't know what is shrink, sometimes when we put the clothes in the washing machine, they shrink, meaning they become smaller. So they become small, all right? Small. So we say shrink. In the past, it becomes shrank, all right? So this is the second category. So let me just recapitulate, please, for those of you, probably people who have just joined us on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, or on X. This is the second live stream about the past simple. So we are talking about the past simple, and today we are focusing solely on the irregular verbs. Irregular verbs, as we all know, can be very frustrating because they change in all sorts of ways. They change in different ways, and it is very difficult to remember all of them. All right. Spin, spun, and hello to you first. Sukram. So spin. Let me please check it. I need to check it because I'm not sure. It's okay. Spin. You are completely correct. Sukram. So spin becomes spun. So this is spinning. So spin. So spin. It's spinning, right? So, Sukram. What you need to pay attention to is that spun is with you. But for the verbs that we have in the third category, it's an A, not a U, right? But you are correct, by the way. So spin is indeed spun. So we saw so far irregular verbs. We said a very fantastic way to remember irregular verbs is uh, uh, by remembering or by putting them into different categories. The first category, irregular verbs that receive GHT in the end. The second category, verbs that don't change at all. They don't change in the past. The third category are irregular verbs that receive an A in the middle in the past. Let us look at the second or at the next one. Read, read. Okay, read. Though read, I can say it can be a little bit misleading. So let me find another one. So meet, for example, meet. So the verb meet, It's there. So meet. I'm meeting someone. All right. It's the last verb in the second line. Meet. What is the past of meet? What is the past of meet? For example, let me give you an example. So yesterday, John meet his boss in the supermarket. Great, great. Because your first suggestion was not, the spelling was not correct. So Artyom says met. Hamza said met. Uh, 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 that's me. Met. Great. So I have just met my friend at the park. Hamza, you gave us a very good example. However, the tense that you used is the present perfect actually, because you have met. That's not the past simple. That's the present perfect. That's a different tense that we will cover, by the way, in the next session. So in the coming live streams, we will absolutely talk about the present perfect. So these are verbs that receive an e in the. Okay, like read. So read, it stays the same in the spelling, but in pronunciation, it's pronounced read. So these are verbs that receive an E, one E in the middle. Like meet, it becomes met. So can you find other verbs from the list again? So that in the past simple they have an A. Can you find some other verbs in the past simple that have an A? So like meet, for example, it becomes met. So meet becomes uh, met. So can you find on the list some other verbs that change in the same way? So like this. So meet becomes met with an E in the middle. One E. So I see that more people have joined. So hello to you. And this is just a reminder that we are having a grammar session as we do every Saturday. So every Saturday we have a live session about grammar. Today is the second session for the past simple. And we are talking about irregular verbs, all right? Irregular verbs. A very, very important point. So feed, absolutely. So feed is to give food to someone. So I'm feeding the cat. All right. If I have a cat, I should feed it, meaning I should give it food. Lead, absolutely. So a leader, when you go in the front of other people. Feed, fed, great. So those are two verbs that change in that way. So feed, fed. Fall, great example, Hamza. Great example. So fall, fell. It becomes fell in the past. Though it's not there, but I completely agree. It is another interesting verb that follow this rule. So maybe I should reveal the list. So this is the list of verbs from the list that follow this rule of E, of double E, or whatever you have in the middle, and it becomes A. So lead becomes led, meet becomes met, bleed. Bleed, for example, if this is a knife and I cut myself, blood will start coming out, and that's bleeding. To bleed is when blood comes out of your body, all right? When you have an injury, when you have a wound, and blood comes out of it, okay? Blood. So the verb is to bleed, okay? So bleed becomes bled in the past. Flee or feed, meaning given food, becomes fed, and read, it becomes read, but only in pronunciation, just in pronunciation. Great. So that's another verb. So e. Now let's see spend. 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 We use it with two things basically. We use it with two things. We use it with time and we use it with money. So I can say, how do you spend your money? Or how do you spend your time? Okay, so we use it with two things. Spend, we use it with two things, with money and with time. So my question is what is the past of the verb to spend? So for example, yesterday I spend, for example, yesterday I spent the day playing video games. All right. So I spend meaning I did all the time. Sorry. So Amin said spend should becomes spent. Send. So another verb that changes in the same way is send. It becomes sent. Spend. Okay, spent. I think you mean feel, felt. Tahir, hello to you. Okay, let us reveal them then. So absolutely. So these are verbs that have a T in the end. They have a T in the end, right? So spend becomes spent. Uh, uh, right. Hello to you. Yesterday, so Hamza solved for us or corrected for us the sentence. Yesterday, I spent the day playing video games. Great job. Great job. Okay. So let me reveal then the other verbs. So we have burn. So burn is you when you use fire on something. So I'm burning the paper, meaning I will use fire with it. All right, I will use fire. So burn becomes burnt. Send, absolutely Artyom. So send becomes sent. Smell, smell, smell. It becomes smelt. All right. Build, when building a house, for example, becomes built. Learn. And by the way, learn is a very, very special verb because learn, what is the past of learn? Let me ask you this question. So, learn. What is the past of learn? So, what is the past simple of learn? It is a very special case, actually, learn. So, let me know in the chat. Okay, great. I already, so I just asked one question and I already have three answers. The first one is by Amin, which is learned with only D. With Iman, there is a beautiful answer which is learned with T. And Artyom chooses ED. So I already have three answers. So which one which answer is correct then? So which answer is correct? Is it 1D? Is it ED? Or is it T? Okay. So for Hamza, it's learned becomes learned with ED or learned with T, and most of you are correct, guys. So absolutely, Hamza is on spot. So learn is a very special verb because it can we can accept learned with T, so learned, or learned with ed. All right, and this is why I put it there under the T category. So learned. All right, so learned. Okay, let us look at the second verb, break. So I break something. All right, I break the door. So what is the verb then in the past? Break. Break. So someone. So for example, if we have this sentence like this, someone break the window last week. Someone break the window last week. So what is the past simple of this verb? So for Amin, he says it's broke. Broke. So it's O. So break. Break, right? Amin is already given us other verbs. So I completely agree with you, Amin. It is broke. So break becomes broke. All right. So it's verbs that have an O. So break, broke. Amin says speak, spoke. Absolutely. So we have some words there that have the same ending. So break, broke, speak, spoke. Can you find other verbs? Amin already found three. So drive, drove also. Steal, Amin. Great. Artem, froze. Indeed, yes. Freeze is when you like when you put water in the freezer, it freezes, right? So in the past, it froze. Okay. All right. So I will share with you the verbs then. Okay. So these are the verbs from the list that have o in the past simple. So break, broke, speak, spoke, drive, drove, freeze, froze, steal. When you take something that is not yours, we say that you have stolen, all right, or that you stole it. So steal becomes stole, and write becomes wrote. All right. So these are verbs again that change in the same way. And finally, we have the last category, which is the category of fly. All right, fly. So, what is the past simple of fly? What is the past simple? And what is the category then? So, fly in the past. So, fly, what does it become? So, Amin says it becomes flew, all right? Flew. So, fly becomes flew. Interesting. Great, Emin. So that's absolutely the last category, which is a verb with EW. Let's see. You are correct, Emin. So the last category is verbs that end in EU or EW. Can you see some other verbs on the screen? I think that's all that is left. That's all that is left. So I will just reveal it then. Okay. So the rest of the verbs change in EW. So fly becomes flew. No, I know. So in the past, I knew. All right. So EU. Throw. So throw something. Throw becomes threw. Grow becomes grew. Draw becomes drew. And that's it. Those are the verbs that we have on the list. So let me please recapitulate what we have been saying from the very beginning. Okay. So today's session was second part of the past simple. All right. So the past simple. If you have missed last week's live stream about the past simple, the introduction, you can absolutely go back to it and watch it again. Not now. Finish the session with us. There isn't much left. All right. But later, please make sure to watch the first part. We had a lot of fun in the first part. We discovered the regular verbs, verbs that end in ed in the past simple, like watch becomes watched, visit becomes visited. All right. The second category is what we are looking at today, and it's irregular verbs. So, irregular verbs basically are verbs that have no rule. They are chaotic verbs, all right? They don't want to change, they don't want to follow any rules. So, basically, they just change in any form they want. But we found a little trick, we found a little thing that will help us to remember all the or the majority of irregular verbs in English, which is that though they change in different ways, some of them change in the same way. All right. For example, so this is what we have been doing. We have a long list that we have on the screen, and what we did is we tried to classify the verbs. So we have so far found seven categories of irregular verbs in English. What are these seven categories? The first one are verbs that end in GHT. Oh, absolutely. So, I mean, I completely agree. So we have feel, and start. Start is a regular verb. I don't know what's doing. What is it doing there? I just added it, I think, without thinking. But feel is felt. It's already there. Verbs that end in T. So, as I was saying, so the first category are verbs that end in GHT. Think thought, catch caught, teach taught, fight fought. The second category are verbs that have O in the middle. Break, broke, speak, spoke, drive, drove, freeze, froze, steal, stole. The third category, verbs that have E in the end. So we have feed, fed, meet, met, lead, led, feel. Okay, that's the other one actually. All right, and yes, bleed, bled. The next one is verbs that have A in the middle. So we said, for example, begin, began, run, ran, swim, swam, drink, drank, and shrink, shrank. The next, or the fifth category, are verbs that have T in the end. So burn, burnt, feel, felt, spend, spent. Okay, build, built. The next are verbs that have EW, for example, know, knew, draw, drew, grow, grew, and yes, throw, through, for example. And finally, are verbs or irregular verbs that don't change in the past. So put, it stays put. Hit, it stays hit. Okay. Set, it stays set. All right. Let, it stays let. Okay. What I will do right now, so I will hide myself. So I will hide myself so that you guys can take a screenshot if you want. So you can take screenshot of the how do we write smell? So let me first see. How do we write smell and burn in the past? So burn becomes burnt, and smell becomes smelt. I will write them for you. So these are basically them. So burn becomes burnt, and smell becomes smelt. So for smell, we take one L and we put T, and for build or burn, we just add T, right? So I hope this is hopeful for you, or this is useful for you. I mean, I hope this answers your question. So as I was saying, I'm hiding myself right now, so you can take a screenshot of the table if you want. If you want if you want to have it, if you want maybe to revise it later on, if you want it to stay with you, please go ahead and take a screenshot. I don't mind. The table is yours, and I will be back in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Here I am again. Hello to you. Okay, so what are we going to do right now? Of course, we are going to look at some exercises. The first exercise is very simple. So I will give you sentences. So let's practice right now. So the first exercise, very simple. I'm giving you 5 sentences. Each sentence has 2 verbs, and your task is to put them in the past simple. And those verbs are irregular verbs. So I would be very surprised if you remember all the forms that we saw. So she teach me how to swim, and I learn quickly. The children run to the park and play on swings. I buy a new book and I read it every night. This is the past. So we begin our journey early in the morning and drive for hours. Again, the past. He built 3 houses in the backyard, and the kids climb in every one, or in every day. So if you can put, please, the verbs between parentheses in the past simple, and please make sure to use the right format. We have already answers by Amin. So Amin says, taught and learned. Okay. If you don't mind me doing, please, I will just put it this way. Right. I prefer this way. I hope it's still clear for you. I hope it's still clear for you. Okay, just so that my picture is not on the words. Okay, so let's start with the first one. So Amin says teach, learned. Let's check the first one. Indeed, yes, taught and learned. And as I said, learned, it can be ed or it can be uh, t. The second one, Artyom. So Artyom said ran with a. Same thing. I mean, ran and played. Played. Put. Oh, okay, I think that's talking about something else. All right, let's see. Ran and played. Absolutely. So play is a regular verb, so we will simply add ed. Next one, buy and read. So Artyom says bought and read, and the same thing Amin says bought and read. So no change for read except for the pronunciation. We change the pronunciation. Shall we check? Let's check. Bought and read. Great. Next one, begin and drive. Artyom says began and drove, and Amin says began and drove. All right, great. Okay, last one, build and climb. You know what is climb? So climb is, for example, you climb something that is high, climbing. Artyom said climb. Amin says build and climbed. Okay, and by the way, we don't pronounce the B in climb, so we just say climb, right? Don't pronounce the B. Okay, probably I should reveal it. And you guys are absolutely correct. So built and climbed. Built and climbed. Okay, so before we finish, I still have one exercise for you guys. But before I do that, let me just very quickly remind you that we are having free ebooks on our website. So if you go to our website, you will find free ebooks. Don't hesitate to go to our website. Maybe I should just very quickly show you how you can do that. So you can go to our website, go to ebooks, scroll all the way down to free ebooks, and you will find books like this one, for example, The Secrets of the Silk Road, and then you can click on download. Right? That's how you download your free ebook. My last activity for you guys, for the last activity, I will actually go back to the table that we have. So let me go back to the table. Oops, let me just add this to the stage. I will go back to the table that we have, and the task for you guys, the task that I want to give you for this last activity is for you to write one sentence using some of these verbs, some of the irregular verbs that we saw today. Maybe we can take 3 sentences and then we can call it a live stream. We can finish the live stream. Okay. So your task is to write a sentence maybe about something that you did in this week, but using irregular verbs in the past. Okay. So write for me a small sentence in the past simple using irregular verbs about something that you did the past week. I will wait for your answers. I will take about 2 to 3 answers and then we can call it a live stream and finish it. So, all right. So I will wait for you. Take your time. Write for me a sentence in the past simple, but make sure to use irregular verbs. Make sure to use irregular verbs. Probably we will add one more session about the past simple because we still need to go through how can we use the negative, so something that did not happen, and also how to ask a question in the past simple. Maybe we can add one more sentence or one more session for that. So, any sentences? I can wrote for you one, for example. For example, this week, I read a very interesting article. So the first verb is read. In the past, it's read, and I wrote a report about it. All right. So I wrote a report about it. Artyom. So Artyom said this week she wrote or she bought. a card last week. Great. Amin said, 2 days ago, I passed an English exam. I read the text and I answered the questions. Fantastic job, Amin. Though I wanted to focus more on irregular verbs. Ibrahim Katonga, hello, hello to you. And thank you for joining us from Facebook. Thank you. Fatma said, run and play. But, okay, oh, I think you are talking about the exercise. All right. I spent 1 hour to finish the exam. Now we are talking, Emmy. Now we are talking. Now you did it. You nailed it on the head. So I spent 1 hour to finish the exam. Okay. So with that, guys, I think we come to the end of this live stream. Ibrahim from Egypt, thank you so much. But we are at the end of the live stream actually. But you can still watch the live stream on YouTube and also on Facebook. So sorry that we didn't get to interact with us throughout the session, Ibrahim, but you are always welcome. Our next session, by the way, as you all know, will be next Wednesday. So Wednesday we will have our next live stream, and it will be a vocabulary live stream. Meanwhile, don't forget to go to our website www.wooenglish.com to find free ebooks that you can read on your free time. I mean, thank you so much for the kind comment. It was very, very amazing to interact with you today. I hope you learned about the past simple of irregular verbs. I hope now that you know the past simple of more verbs. Have a great, great rest of the day. Have a great evening if you are in the evening, and see you on Wednesday. Don't forget our next session.